ELT of savings until April 25th. Restrictions apply. Book today.
Need a new ride for road trips, errands, or just life on the go? Go Auto offers a massive selection with over 15,000 new and used vehicles to choose from. With over 70 locations across Western Canada, finding your next ride has never been easier. Whether it's a roomy SUV for the family, a sleek car for the open road, or a rugged truck for your weekend adventures, you'll find it here at a price you'll love. Explore thousands of vehicles today at goauto.ca.
Who's that working on the underground utilities over there? All-Star Construction, that's who. What about the street lighting? Yep, All-Star Construction. And the directional drilling, hydrovacking, neighborhood renewal, and telecommunication work? Yep. Since 2009, All-Star Construction has been doing all that and more, shaping and building Edmonton communities for land developers all around Edmonton. That's what All-Star Construction is all about.
Why pay dealership prices when you can get the same quality for less? Hi, it's Lisa, and here at Ed's Auto Salvage, we've been Alberta's trusted source for used auto parts for nearly 50 years. From engines to mirrors, transmissions to tires, we've got it all at prices guaranteed to keep your wallet happy. Shop local, shop smart. Shop Ed's Auto Salvage in Westlock. Be sure to visit us online at edsautosalvage.com and get your vehicle back on the road for less.
For over 60 years, the folks at Diablo Boots have been selling the best Canadian-made boots. Handcrafted in Winnipeg, Canada West makes the best quality cowboy, biker, and work boots for Diablo Boots with replaceable soles and heels. Why buy cheaper quality like Ariat, Justin, and Red Wing made in China when Canadian-made is better? Support Canada's workers and Diablo Boots for the best boots. So save on boots by Save On Foods. That's Diablo Boots, 3340 Gateway Boulevard on the east side of Save On Foods. Canada West and Diablo Boots, the two best names in the boots business.
You haven't set your lineup yet, right? It's Fantasy Frenzy with Halley and Douglas on Sports 1440.
Presented by Will Hawk Beef Jerky, home of Alberta's best beef jerky.
Just after 11 o'clock, good morning. Thank you for tuning in to Fantasy Frenzy here on Sports 1440, brought to you by Will Hawk Beef Jerky, home of Alberta's best beef jerky. Online at willhawkbeefjerky.com, only available in Leduc. Make your way out there, say hello. Hey, maybe you're tuned in from Leduc, and it's just a quick little jaunt. Go grab a bag or two or three of the best beef jerky you're ever going to taste. Connor Halley, Brandon Douglas, Josh Fenwick with you here. Mackenzie, the intern, en route back. She'll join us at some point here as well. She was down at Oilers practice. Talk about what's going on tonight as the Oilers take on the Kraken. All of a sudden, big game. And we talked about this last week. Every game going forward here, you could make a case for, is the biggest game of the year. Is there an advantage to that? Yeah. When they get to the playoffs, the Edmonton Oilers, in theory, should have been playing playoff hockey down the stretch. Right now, they are sitting to second spot in the Pacific Division. The Anaheim Ducks top spot with a record of 41-28-5. That's good for 87 points. So they have lost 2 in a row. The Oilers, winners of 3 straight, tonight will try to get their longest winning streak of the season, 37-28-9. Well, the Vegas Golden Knights 1-0 in the John Tortorella era. They won last night 4-2. They have 82 points. So the Oilers and Ducks each with a game in hand. Utah right in the hunt. Well, they're probably going to lock down a wild card spot. They're not catching Minnesota, currently behind 12 points, with the Nashville Predators at 77. And then you got a logjam. And with 10 to 9 games left for a lot of these teams, who knows what can happen. Now, the Preds went for a good run. Currently, losers of 3 straight. The LA Kings, 1 point back with a game in hand. The Kraken, tonight, 2 games in hand, 2 points back. The San Jose Sharks also have 2 games in hand and are 2 points back. They've won 2 straight. Matt and Celebrini eclipsing the 100-point mark. The Winnipeg Jets, well, they're only 3 points back at the Nashville Predators. And then even the St. Louis Blues, 4 points back. The Flames? Could it happen? Stop winning games, Calgary. Josh Fenwick, noted Flames fan, shakes his head. The Flames, 6-3-1 in their last 10. No, they're not in the hunt. I think we're going to rule them out. But the other teams, crazy things have happened. And the NHL right now is fantastic. If you look out east, great race in the Atlantic Division with the Lightning and the Sabres, something I don't think we would have seen coming. But even the Montreal Canadiens, technically still in the hunt, just 4 points back of both of those teams. Looks like the Hurricanes are going to walk away with the Metro. They are 8 points up on the Pittsburgh Penguins, who got Crosby back in the lineup. He eclipsed the 1,100 assist point. Yeah, they're the same thing. And the Islanders right in there as well. The Bruins top wildcard spot, but could jump up in the Atlantic as well. So this is what we want down the stretch here. A lot of meaningful hockey. Duke, you're here as well. Last night you saw your captain Radko Gudas officially get into 2 fights played in 7 minutes. Literally just took his lumps because, to paraphrase him, he had it coming.
Right.
Because I'm just going to go out there and, what is it? High ankle sprain? Whatever. I got to go get beaten up because that's the code.
Where do you stand on that? Do you agree?
I respect it.
Yeah.
I respect the heck out of him for saying, you know what? Yep, threw a bad hit. I got to go out there and do this. It was coming eventually. No matter, how you look at it, you take out a team's captain like that in that fashion. He was going to have to face the music from the Maple Leafs. He probably looked at the Leafs roster and said, yeah, I'll go against these guys. I'm not overly worried about anyone on that team really doing too much damage. Domi gave it a go, threw some extra shots when they were down on the ice, but I kind of respect it from Gudas facing the music. What did you think as a fan of the team?
Yeah, I'm right there with you that I really respect Radko Gudas, and I kind of talked about it with Kevin. Like, you can hate him as a player. You can think he's a dirtbag and a dirty player. Like, think all you want. There's plenty of film to support claims of that nature. But I do think regardless, you kind of have to respect him for, as you say, like he's hurt. He hadn't played the couple games previous, clearly banged up. To say, I got to go out there and eat this. And even in the actual scraps he got, not really putting up much of a fight in the fight. I don't think he earned his 5 minutes worth of penalties to the extent of, say, Max Domi did. But it's part of it's that, but also it's about the implications of if you don't play and what happens in that situation, right? Does a Michael Pezzetta or a Max Domi all of a sudden go and try to take liberties with your 19-year-old rookie, Beckett Seneca, with your skilled players, Leo Carlson, Cutter Gauthier, who unfortunately ended up leaving the game anyway with injury. And Gudas as a captain, I've been pretty critical of his play this season and that he's, at best a third pairing guy on this playoff club that are the Anaheim Ducks right now. And that's fine. But you can see that he obviously still means a lot to the roster, that he's willing to do that, put himself in harm's way when he's already hurt, injured, however you want to put it. So I think that earns you a lot of brownie points inside your locker room if he didn't already have a full cup of them as the leader, the captain of the team. So all the power in the world to him. I do think that it was, to an extent, silly from a Maple Leafs perspective, right? This was a couple weeks ago. This didn't happen at the final buzzer of a hockey game. The hit, right? You had ample time in the game that it happened to take response and action. You didn't. And so now for the last couple of weeks, you have to hear everybody talk about it and call you out, and you feel embarrassed if you're a teammate that did not stand up for your captain and your best player. And so now all of a sudden everybody wants in on the action 2 weeks later. That's fine. It's part of the game. But I don't necessarily agree with it, right? Just because you got embarrassed doesn't mean that you got to come out and try and make up for it another full lunar, like half a lunar cycle later.
I almost feel like they did, though. Like, I get what you're saying. And they were humiliated the way they responded. And we carved them. Everyone carved them. Your captain gets taken out knee on knee and you don't do anything. There's no reaction. I feel like they had to go out there and do something. But at the same time, you're right. Like, it's 2 weeks later. Gudas is hobbling. Someone had a really funny tweet, and I don't like taking shots at other leagues, but it was joking about how in the NBA it's load management, need more of it. In the NHL, it's I'm going to shed my walking boots so I can go get punched in the face for something I did 2 weeks ago. But like, yeah, the Leafs looked really bad, and those things happen. We've seen it with the Oilers before, but not to the captain, right? The captain of your team ending his season with a play like that. And I'm glad they did something. I thought it was cool for Gudas to go out there and do it. Do you think if he doesn't play and he doesn't go out there and face the music, the Leafs are running the young guys? Because that never even crossed my mind until it was brought up to Gudas pregame, where it's like, is that a thought? And he kind of said, yeah, like they might do that. They might run around if I don't go out there and take my licks. And it's kind of a thing we've seen in hockey. Eventually, Kachuk went out there and fought Cassian. Took some time, right. Turtled, but he eventually owned up to it. We see this all the time, but it never really crossed my mind that maybe the Leafs go out there and try to, get their pound of flesh through Bennett Seneca or something like that.
Do I think they would have? I think they would have tried. I think that, as you said, like the embarrassment that as an organization, as a collection of players, they've had to kind of endure for the past few weeks, that weighs on you. Kind of say, would it be a bit of a cop over? Well, he wasn't playing. What do you want us to do?
Mm-hmm.
How many times have you and I, Carius, Gregor, texters talked about from an Oilers perspective saying, all right, well, if that's what they're going to do, like in talking about an opponent, and that guy's not available to you to go and try and pay the price in response for his actions, well, then you have to grab somebody else. It doesn't matter. Make his teammates, skill players, be like, man, I can't believe he put us in that situation.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what Radko Gudas didn't do. And I think there's this kind of code of honor in the league that with him stepping in and willing to face the music, to so to say, that all of a sudden that takes the load off of those younger players. And all of a sudden it risks. Like the Leaf players aren't going to say, all right, yeah, let's go beat up Radko Gudas and now start running around and trying to wallpaper these 19, 20, 21-year-old kids. Any more than we would normally. And it's still a hockey game, right? It's still the physicality of the sport. So it was an interesting dynamic. We saw Pizzetta go after him later. Obviously got a game misconduct, gross misconduct.
Yeah.
There were plenty of other extracurriculars that existed throughout the night that weren't limited to Gudas and the Maple Leafs. I mean, we saw Anthony Stolarz drop a shoulder into Ville Husso at center ice when they were crossing at a TV timeout.
Yeah.
So it was pretty obvious that the Leafs were not coming out of this game without getting at least a few licks in across the board.
And for them to pick up the 2 points probably feels good. Happy flight out of SoCal. Kyle says that's the culture in Leafland. They're soft as they come. They wouldn't run anyone. And you know what? Just to say on the flip side, I think Bennett Seneca, 6'3", 210.
He's not a small kid.
Could handle himself. But I think that's such a good thing for the Ducks culture. Like, to have a guy like Radko Gudas. And you said it, yeah, he's not the player he once was. Third pairing defenseman, maybe. Hey, can be a liability at times. But for the guys in the room, that's a good leader. And I really do respect him for that. Some text coming in here. Triple C and Truck says he could have at least thrown a punch. That fight was kind of weak. Yeah. It felt like Viking culture or something. I just got to own this. Domi came out chucking, but respect to Gudas. Cocked his right arm and never even tried to throw in the fight. I feel like he went in there to take his lumps. Huge respect from Brad. Kyle says, I really respect him for what he did. I wasn't a fan, but I have to respect him in the process. From Toronto's point of view, it was late and didn't really feel like it proved anything, which is what you said, essentially, Duke.
That's, yeah, what did you accomplish besides the fact your tail is still has been tucked between your legs, and maybe you get to pull, you're not sticking it back up in the air, walking around like a proud tomcat, but at least you don't have to cower when facing, the very harsh media that is Toronto, even when the Maple Leafs, there's nothing to really talk about, although suddenly there is because they fired their GM 15 minutes before the game started last night. And maybe, and all of a sudden you start thinking, it's was that sort of by design? I mean, I'm not saying they made that decision because of this, but at least it gave everybody something else to talk about post game rather than the team's response to the Gudas situation. I do think that the timing of that absolutely played a role.
And it is, just we're in Edmonton to bring it back home. Like you've seen in the last little while here, like Leon Draisaitl had a puck fired at him, like no intent. Connor McDavid like gets angry. Those are the kinds of things you see, and it just brings the team together. And for the Leafs, it's too little, too late, of course. But hey, maybe it's something to build on. We got a text in here from Northside Lou. Hey guys, do we have any lineups for tonight? Well, expect the same. Trent Frederick and Colby Dock were on the ice. Frederick obviously closer than Doc, but yeah, I would expect the same. Connor Ingram's going to get the start for the Oilers between the pipes, per reports down at practice. Brad says, you guys know Crosby was in his mind too. This was Gudas apologizing to all of Canada, in my opinion.
I absolutely do not think that.
Yeah, that didn't come to my mind.
And because he injured Sidney Crosby, that was not a dirty hit.
No.
Or an out-of-line play. Like, the play on Matthews is as egregious of a knee as you can lay on somebody, essentially. But the only thing that could have made it worse is if that both guys were, like, at full speed in the middle of the ice. But it's, like, fully extended. The knee was out further than his giant beard out in front of him. So, if you're thinking that this was some sort of him, like, answering two bells at once because it's the Maple Leafs, no. I'm sorry. I don't buy into that at all. Think what you want, by all means. And if that helps give you a little bit of closure as a Canadian hockey fan, then so be it. But I don't think that was a factor at all in this.
Yeah. Despite his reputation, when it happened with Sidney Crosby, I didn't have any like bad blood towards him. It was a hockey player.
It was an unfortunate result from a hockey player. Like he's closing on a guy, they get tangled up. It happens 100 times in a game. It just so happens that this one resulted in a tough injury for the Canadian captain.
See the Penguins go after him next time they meet.
Yeah.
And Nikki Northside says Gudas must have watched the movie Goon when he just lets the guy beat on him for stealing his girl.
Yeah, that's a good comparison, actually.
It was. He's like, I got to take my lumps here. Just gonna have it happen.
I'm sorry.
The older generation doesn't like that movie. I thought it was good though. The second one, maybe not quite as much.
I did not watch the second one because I also thought the first one was just funny enough and had some like legitimate hockey-ish storylines in it when you talk about the role of the enforcer and things like that I didn't want to spoil it by watching a second one, which felt to me like it would have got even goofier and a little more out there. I'm not saying that's because I never saw it, so I don't know, but I just didn't want to spoil it. Same reason I never watched Anchorman 2. Sequels almost never live up to the billing.
Yeah.
And they spoil the first one a little bit when they're really bad, in my opinion.
Not as much for me. I guess I can separate the two, but I get what you're saying. Anchorman 2, not as good as the original. Goon, obviously not as good as the original. Xavier Laflamme, though, what a player. When we start talking about like,
generation
hockey movies and players you'd want on your team, his talent was there. He just had to have a guy like Doug, the Thug Glatt, bring him down a little bit. I thought Jay Baruchel also was pretty funny in that
He's fun. I mean, he's a funny guy. He's a very good writer because I think he wrote both those movies.
Yeah.
And who was he not also a character in the Blackberry movie? That's the one that I can't believe I haven't seen yet.
With bald Glenn Howerton?
With bald Glenn Howard as Jim Balsillie.
I haven't seen that one either.
But I've heard it's unreal. I've heard it's very good. So I might need to seek it out. Now that I don't have any more beer league hockey to play, my evenings are very free.
Lots to do. MTR says even Crosby said it was a hockey play. He had no problem with it. Yeah, but it happens. Unfortunately, it's a contact sport. Dumb and Dumber 2 has to be the worst sequel of all sequels, in my opinion, from Walt.
Yeah, I'll hear that.
The opening scene, though, pretty funny. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
I guess it's not really a spoiler, but yeah, go watch the opening scene and then maybe just turn it off. We'll take a break here. When we come back, more text, 1-833-401-1440. The Edmonton Elks bringing in someone to the coaching staff. We'll talk about that as well. It's Fantasy Frenzy brought to you by Wilhock Beef Jerky.
At Hughes, it's all about getting in and out quick and clean. No cash, no problem. With Hughes' new tap and wash system, all you need is your debit or credit card to get your vehicle sparkling clean.
Find us at HughesCarWash.com.
One app, triple the action. Play Alberta is proof that good things do come in threes. Whether you're into playing any of our exciting casino games, betting on your favorite professional sports teams from around the world, or buying into Canada's biggest lottery, Play Alberta is the province's only app to do it all. Download today and discover a new way to play. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, use your game sense.
What a performance by Action Electrical today. Their projects team kicked things off, designing and building with unmatched skill.
Then the service team swoops in for those crucial repairs and maintenance. And don't forget the testing team, ensuring everything's safe and sound before the solar team scores with sustainable energy.
A complete team effort. Have Action Electrical bring home a win for you and your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. We're the #1 dealer in the world. Just kidding. If we were, would you care? We're the #1 dealer in Canada. Still kidding. You probably still don't care. Tell you what you will care about, our March Madness sale going on right now. Discounts up to $30,000. And the grand opening of our Autoplex, a massive indoor showroom. No self-proclaimed titles, no iPads, no trips to Vegas or hockey jerseys, just a really good deal. Stop in and see us today, 13215 97th Street, or visit us online at northgategm.com.
You're in Northgate country.
Cantork has turned 25. That's right, 25 years of building tools so good, they practically torque themselves. Hard work and innovation equals problem solved. See our latest designs at cantork.com.
Are you looking for safe and reliable transportation solutions for your wedding, corporate retreat, or golf trip? Look no further than Silent Rides, Alberta's premier charter bus company. Whether your group is big or small, Silent Rides has you covered. We offer 3 different sizes of units to cater to your needs, and we provide first-class service at affordable rates. Get your quote today. For more information and to request a quote, contact sales at 877-748-0991 or visit silentrides.ca.
Whether it's a house, a gas station, an apartment complex, or any new building going up above ground, the work always starts below ground. And that's where you'll find GS Construction. GS Construction ensures the first step, relocating utilities, installing new ones, and building the underground systems, is taken to make progress possible. But the work can't start without you. GS Construction is currently on the lookout for experienced top men, pipe layers, and operators. To apply, visit gsconstruction.ca.
With the lead up to the playoffs underway, players are definitely stepping up their game.
And the fans are doing the same. Simple snacks like chips and dip may work at the front half of the season, but now more and more fans are rocking the Wilhauk beef jerky for game time get-togethers.
Just make sure you bring enough for everyone if you want to be invited back for the playoffs.
Make your next hockey game day a Will Hockey game day with Wilhauk beef jerky, only available in Leduc. Get yours today because you don't win games with salad.
The longest running basketball show in Canada airs every Saturday morning at 10 on Sports 1440. Hoop City with Paul Sir introduces a new generation of basketball talk, and it's right here on Edmonton's home for sports, Sports 1440.
Fast track your financial goals with a special rate term deposit from Vision Credit Union. For a limited time, take advantage of a great rate on 1, 3, or 5-year terms. Plus, as a Vision Credit Union member, you can earn up to 25% more on your interest through profit shares. For details, contact your branch today or visit visioncu.ca. That's visioncu.ca.
Running a business is tough. Finding new customers shouldn't be. Stop chasing leads. Let them come to you with Stingray, offering you access to more digital, outdoor, and traditional advertising platforms, including radio, connected TV, search and social, programmatic, digital advertising, and digital out of home. So while you're closing the next deal, Stingray is working for you to deliver more leads, more customers, more sales. It's that easy. Get started now at stingraymediasolutions.com and always be closing.
Get the inside scoop for your team on Fantasy Frenzy with Halley and Douglas on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wilhauk Beef Jerky, home of Alberta's best beef jerky.
11:23. Welcome back. It's Fantasy Frenzy, brought to you by Wilhauk Beef Jerky, home of Alberta's best beef jerky. Only available in the Duke. Go check them out. WilhaukBeefJerky.com. Connor Halley, Brandon Douglas, Josh Fenwick with you here. Facebook, YouTube X, Instagram, Twitch, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Radio Player Canada, sports1440.ca, and the good old AM dial. Where, of course, we've got Blue Jays games these days. Not tonight, though. Of course, Oilers game day taking on the Seattle Kraken down at Rogers Place. That means we've got pregame coverage with Andrew Walker, Donovan Paulson, and Landon Ferraro following the Jason Greger show at 6 o'clock today. DP also going to be by for the lowdown with Low Tide, as he does every Tuesday. This segment for elksnation.ca, 2-weekly podcast with Eddie Steele and Declan Kruger, breaking down the green and gold, the most in-depth Double E football coverage you're going to find. Videos, podcasts, articles, and more. elksnation.ca. Just on the topic of the Elks, they have brought back Rick Campbell as a coaching analyst. Rick Campbell, of course, got his start way back in the day in the CFL with Edmonton. 1999, came in as a DB coach as well as a special teams coordinator. Before that, spent a few years with the Oregon Ducks. Then was promoted to DC in 2005, held that position for 4 years. Then went over to Winnipeg, went to the Calgary Stampeders, back in Edmonton as an assistant head coach and special teams coordinator. Spent 2 seasons with the Stampeders, and then was the head coach of the Ottawa Redblacks. Then went to the BC Lions, co-GM'd, went back to BC Ottawa last season, and now in Edmonton. So I like it. Anytime you can bring back a CFL lifer, a guy with all the experience that he has, I think that's a good move. He's a 3-time Grey Cup champion, and good move for head coach Killam to have another voice in there. Assuming everything is worked well together, I think that's a pretty good move for the Elks. We got the draft coming up as well. Mackenzie's got some interviews she'll be dropping soon as well, one-on-ones. Declan as well was down at the Combine over the past weekend, so it's going to be a fun year. I think this is the year the Elks do it and get back into the playoffs. Now, text. Kyle says, part of me wonders if Vegas firing Cassidy fast-tracked the Tree Living fire. Just like they're doing it so we can do it? Maybe. I guess it's an interesting time for it, Duke. And I don't know, did the Leafs say anything like what the timeline is for hiring a new guy? Because obviously you're going to want someone in line for the offseason, the draft, free agency. So I think you'd want to get the new person in place sooner than later. The Oilers, of course, a couple years ago waited on Bowman after Jackson made some of the moves. Which is, it is what it is, right? You have to go through the process, the interview process, and get it all done. But I would think for the Leafs, in the situation that they are in, not coming off a Stanley Cup appearance, you get this guy in as soon as possible and see what the game plan's going to be. I don't know who. Duke, do you have any names for the next head GM of the Toronto Maple Leafs?
I think the biggest one that's out there, and I don't know if it's a good idea, bad idea, but Doug Armstrong, who's going to be wrapping up his tenure as the St. Louis Blues general manager at the end of this season, hand the reins over to Alex Steen on that front. He jumps to the front of, I think, most people's queues. And Frank Saravalli with Kevin earlier brought up some good points. Like, the Leafs are such an enterprise, and they have the largest staff in the NHL from a hockey operations standpoint. So as a GM, and if you're putting it both under one job, president of hockey ops, putting all of that under one person to do, you have to think someone with experience is the more likely route that they pursue rather than, say, a fresh face. I'm inclined to agree with it, and not just because I trust Frank and I think he's a pretty smart guy that knows what he's talking about. It makes sense when you put it in that context, right? I know there's some people throwing at Haley Wickenheiser's name as someone who's been in the organization before. I don't know. I just think the experience factor looms pretty large here. So who else is out there as a former person, right? Like, is it Mark Bergevin, who's kind of been back with the Buffalo Sabres now with Jarmo Kekalainen as an associate GM? He's had success in the past, and it seems like he's obviously still interested in sticking around the game still. Is it Doug Armstrong? Maybe he keeps Craig Berube on. They have a history together winning the Stanley Cup in St. Louis. So outside of that, I haven't seen too many names floating. Some in-house guys, obviously inside the Maple Leafs organization, their capologist, assistant GM as a possibility. But no, have you heard, seen, thought any up of your own that would maybe qualify as a candidate?
Well, I saw Lance Hornby, friend of the station, been on with us a bunch of times, had an article of some potential names. He had Mark Hunter, who was a former co-assistant. They decided to hire Dubas instead. Then he obviously went to the OHL, and we know the track records he's had. And, Kelly McCrimmon was with the Brandon Weekings for a long time, and people would say he's done a pretty good job with the Vegas Golden Knights. So maybe that could be a route. In this article, Bill Scott, Oilers assistant GM, recently interviewed for the Preds job, worked under Bowman. He also has Chris Pronger as a name there. Pronger, we know what he does on the ice. He's an analyst now, but also worked with the Florida Panthers as an advisor. So those are the names he threw out there. And then Brandon Pridham, who is the assistant GM under the Leafs. He's been there for the last 3 GMs. I think he is the cap guy. I don't know. I mean, for me, I'd probably look to bring in a new face, maybe someone who's not as loyal to the current state of the team because what they have isn't working. That's just me. Maybe keep him around for the cap and all those purposes, but it's a big job. Is it the biggest job in hockey?
I think between that or the Habs, Montreal Canadiens, I think would be, just because of the history matters when you're talking about an organization and the weight of that. Now, Toronto might even be more so because of this drought of success when you're talking about no conference finals in how many, since expansion, obviously no Stanley Cup since 67. And we gripe about it a lot out here, and maybe the extra focus that networks put on Toronto, the Maple Leafs, obviously being a big part of that. But there's a reason why, right? That's where all the people are. It's the biggest market that we have north of the border. So it kind of is the center of the hockey universe, even if the team isn't very good. So as a result, I think it's a fair statement to say it's the biggest gig in the league.
Yeah,
outside of the commissioner.
I mean, the pressure comes with it. From day one, you're gonna be facing the media. You're gonna have all those mics. How are you fixing this? What's step one? What do you do? And like you said, especially with the track record with this group of guys who have not won a Stanley Cup, they've won one playoff series. Is that right?
Yeah.
It hasn't been good enough with the talent that they have. So, and especially where a lot of players want to play. There's a lot of players who want to don the maple leaf and get out there and get it done. And they've attracted free agents, but we'll see who it is. I kind of like the Hunter idea. Matt Leduc says, hot take, Joe Nieuwendyk. What's he been up to? We'll scroll through here. Obviously, we know his Hall of Fame career for management. He's been at the Florida Panthers back in 2007. He left the Panthers to join the Leafs as an assistant to Cliff Fletcher. He was the assistant GM for the silver winning team for the 2009 World Championship. He's been on with the Hurricanes in the past. It'd be an interesting one. I don't know. He resigned from his position in Carolina in 2018. So has he been doing anything since?
Good question.
Hockey lifer, though, right? It'd be interesting. Wonder if you get a look. Kyle says, I hope it's Chiarelli. Stanley Cup champion, Peter Chiarelli? No, that was over 15 years ago. Where's he now, Duke? Do you know?
Well, I thought he was with St. Louis, but I believe he just left that role.
You're right.
Very recently.
Apparently interviewed for the job in Nashville.
Yeah.
It'd be a bold one.
Would I be shocked if he surfaces as a candidate for this Toronto job? No, I wouldn't. I absolutely think he will get interviewed for it.
If you were the GM, Duke, let's say
of the Maple Leafs,
you're the Maple Leafs GM,
wow.
Or they bring you in for an interview. What they say? What do you do? How do we turn this thing around? What do you think the fix is?
It's a good question.
Obviously, we don't have those answers because we're not NHL general
Get
managers.
Mitch Marner back.
Bring back Marner.
Bring back Mitch Marner.
Bring back Hyman.
Yeah, just recoup all the bad decisions you've made, players you've let leave. I think there just has to be what you mentioned this earlier about like the don't be tied to the players you currently have. Is it like having a hard conversation with Austin Matthews about what his future looks like? You just be frank with him. Like, do you want to be here? It's okay if you say no, but I need to do what's best for this team. And the same thing can be had with William Nylander. Now, if you're talking about moving both those guys, then you're talking down to the studs, right? Those are your two best players by a country mile. If one doesn't really want to be there anymore, I think that's a pretty good spot to reload some assets and get capable players. You've still got a couple good young pieces. Easton Cowan, Matthew Nyes, in particular, stand out. Maybe a top 5 draft pick this year if you can be bad enough down the stretch that you don't give it to Boston. So I just think it would start with hard conversations about the players you already have. And then after that, it's a little bit more of, all right, how do I now fill the pieces along the edges? Because your blue lines on paper, like this was just a terrible year in so many ways. Do you expect, if you ran back the exact same roster, would you expect the same result? I'm not sure I would.
I would, yeah, I think I'd agree with you.
Now, do I think you're a Stanley Cup contending team? No. But I think you're a team that absolutely should be competing for the playoffs.
Yeah.
Even with the ascension of some of these other teams inside your own division, like Detroit, like Buffalo, Montreal and Ottawa were there last year. But the Panthers, you expect to be back. At least I do. So it's a tough division. Do you recognize that and say, okay, because we see this in the NFL quite a bit, right? When it's getting a little tougher around you, do you just say, all right, we're just going to be bad and kind of reload and hope for the next cycle, for lack of a better term? I don't know. I don't think you can really do that in Toronto.
No, and then the NFL, the perk is in a draft, you get guys who are ready to play for the most part, right?
It's immediate, right?
You can add hopefully 3 to 4 starters every year. In the NHL, yeah, you might get 2 or 3 from a draft class. So a little bit of a different waiting period there. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting one to see who they end up going with. Dunner has a fair point. He says, you can't say on one hand you have no respect for Gudas' game given his track record, then on the other hand saying you respect him for stepping up. Garbage is garbage. If he did that to Leon or Connor, no Oiler fan would be contextualizing the word respect for Gudas.
Yeah, but keep in mind, like we talk about his reputation. He has a reputation as a very physical player, obviously. He had not been suspended for, I think it was 7 years before this one. Like, he's been suspended before, but the gap between suspensions was many seasons. So you can say, like, he does a pretty good job of towing that line of what is illegal and what's not, right? And the physicality has always been a part of his game. That's what he's known for. That's why he has a job in the NHL. So I don't know. Like, you can say he's pushing the line a little bit too much and say I don't like him as a player. Maybe I don't know. Did we say you have no respect for his game? I think we said you cannot like him as a player. You cannot like his game and still respect what he did.
Yeah,
because I think just what he did, I thought it showed real leadership and character. You can have those things and still be a physical, hard-nosed player, right? To win the Lady Byng doesn't necessarily insinuate that you're a dandy out there skating around, avoiding contact at every turn and not taking penalties. Now, penalty minutes are certainly a contributing factor to how they assess the Lady Byng.
You don't want that award.
But Jacob Slavin has won the Lady Byng. He's the best defensive defenseman in the entire NHL. Don't tell me he's a soft player. So I don't know. I know it went on with a little bit of a tangent, but I do think that the two can happen at the same time.
If I may quote the great Ron Swanson, when Leslie Knope said, I'm guilty, I did something bad, I'm a bad person. His response was, it's not that simple. You know what makes a good person good? When a good person does something bad, they own up to it. They try to learn something from it and they move on.
Wow. Very, very timely. You just know that quote, or did you look it up?
I had to look it up.
Or did you look it up while I was going on my little tangent?
It was a long rant. It gave me plenty of time. No, I looked it up earlier because I saw it from Dunner. I think you have some fair points there. I don't know if those words came out of our mouths specifically, like not respecting him. That's going to happen. He has that game, but the act of what he did, he owned it. And I think that, when a lot of times people mess up, they don't own it. He did. And he did. Some people are texting in like, he didn't even throw a punch. That's crazy. Yeah. It seemed a little weird. Like he had the right hand back. Didn't do it.
He only really responded after Domi took him down. Like he'd got plenty of good licks in, and then Gudis is down, and then Domi kept still trying to get a few more in him. You saw a little bit of a response there. A little tough to do when you're already on your back on the ice and the officials are stepping in. But that was really the only time. And even when Pizzetta went after him in the corner, he essentially just stayed down on his hands and knees and let him feed him in the back and in the back of the head a few times.
It's like Gladiator, Maximus.
Right?
Just taking it. Honor. I will be interested now, though, Duke. If, I don't know what Gudis' future holds. He's played a lot of hockey. If he plays next year and these two teams meet again when he's healthy, like he's always going to be nasty, but like he's going to be like, I gave you yours. Now let's go again. Now I'm back.
Would it matter? So I guess you asked me if I was GM of the Maple Leafs. I'll ask you if you were a member of the Toronto Maple Leafs next season and you come up against Radko Gudis, not in a Ducks uniform, playing for a different team. We're many, many months removed from this incident. Do you feel inclined to go at him again?
I would say you finish your checks on him. He's a target. I don't think he has to fight. But if I'm Radko Gudis, I'm looking my chops. Like, all right, I gave you guys that game.
Yeah, now I'm fighting back.
So come at me, but you're going to get
a tough customer, right? Like
yeah.
That's not a guy you necessarily look forward to squaring off with unless you're Matthew Olivier or Nick Deloyer or one of these legitimate NHL heavyweights.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Which, all due respect to Max Domi and Michael Pizzetta, you're not. Like,
and that's why I said earlier, like
Ryan Reeves.
Yeah, I kind of get why if I was Gudis and I'm looking at that Leafs team, like, okay, send whoever you got.
Yeah.
I'm not.
I can take it.
Yeah, I can take this one. We'll take a break. When we come back, more text 1-833-401-1440, and we'll let you know what's coming up on the Lowdown and the Jason Greger Show. It is Fantasy Frenzy, brought to you by Wilhauk Beef Jerky.
At GS Construction, every winter plan becomes a spring project. Every repaired line and every improved system is how we build the next chapter of Edmonton's infrastructure. And we can't do that without the best and the brightest in the field. That's why right now, GS Construction is looking to hire experienced top men, pipe layers, and operators who can step in and hit the ground running. With a people-first mentality, career growth, and comprehensive benefits, why would you want to work anywhere else? To apply, visit gsconstruction.ca.
Wondering what you can afford? Let Go Auto do the math with our free car loan calculator. No pressure, no awkward convos, just quick answers on your budget and payments. Bad credit? No credit? We got you. Text check to 780-777-7777. That's check to 780-all-7. Find out what you qualify for and start shopping with confidence. Go Auto. Drive what you love with payments that make sense.
With the lead up to the playoffs underway, players are definitely stepping up their game.
And the fans are doing the same. Simple snacks like chips and dip may work at the front half of the season, but now more and more fans are rocking the Wilhauk Beef Jerky for game time get-togethers.
Just make sure you bring enough for everyone if you want to be invited back for the playoffs.
Make your next hockey game day a Will Hockey game day with Wilhauk Beef Jerky, only available in Leduc. Get yours today because you don't win games with salad.
Action Electrical's projects team takes the field, folks, ready to execute the entire play for new commercial builds.
Absolutely. They're masters of design build, sketching strategy from initial blueprints to core electrical infrastructure. The team never misses on complex projects.
Known for handling big league constructions and major renovations, ensuring flawless execution, hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Want to invest in Alberta's workforce, fill your talent pipeline, and get funding? Careers, the next generation connects employers with motivated, pre-vetted youth through funded internships. Easy, impactful, and risk-free.
When you work with a group like Careers who have experience in that area, they can demystify and navigate all the complex steps and stakeholders that have to be involved.
Visit careersnextgen.ca today.
At Fountain Tire, the savings come in threes. Up to 25% off select tires, a mail-in rebate of up to $100 off a set of 4 select tires, and $50 off $150 service. We're basically the BLT of savings. Until April 25th. Restrictions apply. Book today.
Bringing every project to life requires the right team. By joining the Japa Machinery Group service or sales teams, you can be part of setting a new industry standard. Celebrating a legacy of excellence with Japa. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
Craving your favorite mouth-watering pizzas? Papa John's has large specialty pizzas for only $19.99 for a limited time. Get a flavorful all the meats, the works, ultimate pepperoni, Hawaiian, barbecue chicken, and more on original thin or New York style crust. Use the code LSPEC at papajohns.ca or on the Papa John's app. Get yours today. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's.
The longest running basketball show in Canada airs every Saturday morning at 10 on Sports 1440. Hoop City with Paul Sir introduces a new generation of basketball talk, and it's right here on Edmonton's home for sports, Sports 1440.
That's 2 minutes for teeth chattering. Freezing on the sidelines again? The Kuma heated chair is a must-have for sports parents who want to cheer in total comfort. From chilly spring mornings to frosty fall evenings, you can finally be warm and comfortable for every game of the season. Shop Kuma Outdoor Gear online and choose from 4 unique models, including one you both can curl up in. Get yours today at KumaOutdoorGear.com.
Whoa, I gotta put some money on the game tonight. We hit our monthly budget. Whoa, how did you get in here? I'm you, the responsible you. We're right. We'll play another time. Sounds more like us.
If you gamble, use your game sense. Visit GameSenseAB.ca.
Who should start? Who needs to hit the bench? Find out with Fantasy Frenzy with Halley and Douglas. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by Will Hawk Beef Jerky, home of Alberta's best beef jerky.
$11:45. Welcome back to Fantasy Frenzy here on Sports 1440. Connor Halley, Brandon Douglas, and Josh Fenwick with you here from the Sports 1440 studios in West Edmonton Mall. Brought to you by Will Hawk Beef Jerky, home of Alberta's best beef jerky. Online, willhawkbeefjerky.com. Coming up next, we got the Lowdown with Lowtide. Of course, it's Tuesday, so their little round table with Donovan Paulson and Declan Kruger. I'm sure Josh Fenwick will get involved in the conversation as well. They'll also be joined by Tim Booth, who covers the Seattle Kraken for the Seattle Times. So make sure you keep it locked here on Sports 1440 for that. And then on the Jason Greger show today, we'll also head to Seattle, just tracking someone down as we speak. Brad Slater is on it, but we'll be talking to Paul Sir, host of Hoop City. Actually, you know what? I haven't texted him yet. So I'm hoping we'll get him on. He volunteered his time, even though he's on vacation. So we're hoping to have Paul on. Terry Ryan's going to join us for the hour from 3 till 4. Of course, former NHLer, star of Shoresy, Ted Hitchcock. 3:20, Dave McCarthy from SiriusXM. Probably touch on the Maple Leafs just a little bit there. We'll get to the stat of the day, 5 questions. Got Cam Tate's 2-minute warning, Struddy, Derek Van Diest, and Mark Spector. So be a very busy show today on the Jason Greger show. And then, of course, following that, 6 o'clock, pre-game coverage. Andrew Walker, Donovan Paulson, and Landon Ferraro as the Edmonton Oilers taking on the Seattle Kraken tonight. Connor Ingram going to get the start. Should be a fun one. Other games around the NHL, realistically, nothing that's really going to impact the Oilers too much. You got the Stars and the Bruins meeting in Boston. Sabres in a battle for top spot in their division. They host the Islanders, while the team they're battling, the Lightning and Canadiens, meeting in Florida. Sens take on the Panthers. You got the Rangers, Devils, Penguins, Red Wings, Caps, Flyers, Jackets, Hurricanes, the Winnipeg Jets, and Chicago Blackhawks meeting in the Windy City. It was last night where the Pacific Division really showed up. Ducks pick up the point. Golden Knights pick up 2 points. Tortorella era has begun in Vegas. 1-833-401-1440. Text line, a lot of people talking about the Leafs and what they should do. Kyle says you got to tear it down, get something back in terms of assets, and try again. None of the guys want to win. They prep for their game day outfits more than they do the game. Now they look clean coming in, but you're right. You're not getting guys who are elevating their game in the postseason. It's like what we've seen for a lot of the Oilers. Bouchard, McDavid, Draisaitl, Hyman, the guys elevating the playoffs. Leafs haven't got that. Nicky Northside says they need real leadership. First thing is taking the C off of Matthews. That guy doesn't give captain aura at all. Who does it go to? Back to Tavares? Cal said, he has nothing to trade away. Be good to see Toronto hire him. I think I'm not sure this is regarding. Wouldn't have to worry about listening to Toronto media, except for his giveaways and poor contracts. Rolly says, what Gudas did really sucks because what he did was so respectable, it'll likely galvanize the Ducks. Potentially. I mean, I think it just sends a good message. Like, the Ducks have a lot of young players, and I think it does send kind of a good message to them. You know, you do something bad, you got to own it, up to it. You got to, it was kind of it was a very dirty play. And it was an unfortunate result. And Gudas could have ducked the team. He could have turned away from fights. He could have turtled, but he didn't do that. So after the hit, he did what he could to try to make it right as much as possible, even though, Austin Matthews having to go through what he's going to have to go through. That's the worst. Would Gudas have done the same thing if there was a real heavyweight? Probert, Brown, waiting to do some damage? Steve from Drumheller? Well, that's the question, right? I mean, I said it a couple times there.
Did those guys exist? How many of them, like in the Probert, Dave Brown, like there was one of those guys on every team.
Yeah.
There are 3 of those players in the entire NHL right now, and they don't play every night. And keep in mind, I would say Gudas is probably close to being one of them.
In terms of fighters?
Like guys,
just tough guys.
Guys that you wouldn't want to tussle with. Like, I think, like, name who are the biggest heavyweights in the league.
Matthew Olivier.
Right? I think he's number 1.
Matt Rempe.
He's big.
I mean, he'll throw him. Wi-Fi?
Sure.
Tom Wilson drop him? I mean, he'll run you over. Ryan Reeves?
How many games has he played this year?
But, I mean, if he was with Toronto, they would have dressed him.
They would have put him in the lineup for sure. And I don't, like, just based on Gudas as a player, and this is purely speculative because we'll never know because Toronto had the players they had. I think he would have done it. And now, what if he tried to fight back a little bit more? If he was getting his skull caved in by Olivier or Reeves, or Delorier is another guy I mentioned earlier as one of the bona fide heavyweights. Yeah, maybe. I don't think he would have been quite as keen just to stand there and eat them. Maybe try to play a little more defense in the scrap at least. But I don't think he would have used the injury excuse to completely avoid the confrontation. Yeah. I think that his mind had been made up about that.
I think so too. I mean, we'll never know. But I mean, I have brought it up a couple times. Like, I'm sure you look at that lineup and say, okay, yeah, let's do it. Let's see what happens. His nickname is the Butcher.
The Butcher.
Sharks play last night. Sharks won last night. Celebrini got over 100 points last night. MTR says Duke's really going to bat for his captain, as he should.
Well, the thing is,
that's his captain.
Don't think he's a good player, so it's kind of a little bit tough. And I think, if anything, shows my ability to set things aside because I've been quite upfront that since they acquired John Carlson, like, I don't think he's one of their 6 best defensemen. So to be playing every night, but he's hurt. He did, like I said, you don't have to like him as a player. I don't think he's a good player in the NHL, but I respect what he did.
Nick says Nurse is a heavyweight. Respect the name. He'll drop him. Yeah. He used to do it a little more. Not working your way up. Bearcat says, did you see Gudas fight, Duke? He can't fight at all. He's never been a fighter. Gudas is not a fighter. Well, I mean, last night I wouldn't say it's very indicative of his fighting ability. He was just owning it, taking it. We saw the right hand back and ready, just didn't really decide to throw any. But you just said he's tough, and there's don't denying that. Slippery Sean is Evander Kane. He can chuck him, but he's not a huge towering presence, or he's not Probert. That was kind of like the name that was brought up.
And that's the example in the text was all these guys that are some of the toughest players that ever played in the NHL and the best fighters. Those don't exist anymore. And so the fact that we're using names like Evander Kane among the league scrappers just to show how different it is now. And so as a result, a player as tough as Gudas is, and sure, maybe he's not a good fighter, last night notwithstanding. Sure, Bearcat did. Sure, if you think that he's a bad fighter. You don't have to be a good fighter to stand there and take it sometimes. Just ask Trent Frederick. He's a pretty tough cat. So I just, like I said, I think he would have done it regardless of who was on the other side. Just so happened that the Leafs didn't really have anybody that struck much fear into his heart.
Yeah. This wasn't the boogeyman or LaRock on the other side.
Yeah, right.
But I mean, that's, the NHL shifted, right? You got to be able to do both. They're not going to employ
look at Olivier. He's the best fighter in the league. He can score 10 goals and be a valuable asset on a fourth line on a night-to-night basis.
Yeah, exactly. Brad says Ty can still beat the hell out of Bucks. Ty Domi was the way, he would throw him. He was pound for pound, maybe one of the best. There's times if you grabbed him, you could probably shake him a little bit, but he was fun to watch back in the day. That music means we're done. Enjoy the Lowdown Flowtide and the Jason Gregor Show, then pregame coverage, then postgame coverage once it wraps up. Oilers and Kraken down at Rogers Place. For the Duke and Josh, I'm Connor Halley. Appreciate you guys joining us on the show today. Check the podcast, check the video on YouTube. Go give it a thumbs up. We'd appreciate that greatly. And make sure you subscribe. Sports 1440 AM. Right now, Sports 1440 update with the Duke, brought to you by Will Hawk Beef Jerky, home of Alberta's best beef jerky. Online at willhawkbeefjerky.com. Only available in Leduc.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Game day for the Edmonton Oilers. They're hosting the Seattle Kraken tonight from Rogers Place. Connor Ingram expected to get the start in net puck drop just after 7 o'clock. Pre-game coverage starting right here on Sports 1440 at 6. Around the rest of the NHL, 9 other games, including several playoff implications. Sabres hosting the Islanders. Habs are in Tampa Bay. Senators up against the Panthers. Red Wings playing the Penguins. Caps host the Flyers. Hurricanes in Columbus. Jets take on the Hawks from Chicago. And the Dallas Stars are in Beantown against the Bruins. Those same Stars reportedly coming to agreement on a 2-year extension for general manager Jim Nill. Edmonton Oil Kings playoff series, first round, resuming tonight in Saskatoon against the Blade. Currently tied at 1 game apiece. Puck drop just after 7 o'clock. And in the Alberta Junior Hockey League playoffs, Game 7 from the Camrose Kodiaks and Drumheller Dragons goes at 7 o'clock from the Drumheller Memorial Arena. In the association, 7 games tonight, including the Raptors back at it. They're in Detroit to play the Pistons. Tip-off coming at 6 o'clock. Elsewhere, Charlotte in Brooklyn, Milwaukee hosting Dallas, and Cleveland takes on the Lakers from SoCal. Full slate in the majors today. Blue Jays continue their set against the Colorado Rockies. First pitch just after 5 o'clock in downtown Toronto. Max Scherzer making his first start of the 2026 year for the Bluebirds. Coming up on Sports 1440, it is the Lowdown with Low Tide. I'm Brandon Douglas at your Sports 1440 update.
This is Sports 1440.